The Fashion Workers Advice Bureau, Leicester, has been set up to give free advice and support service for all garment, textile and fashion workers. And brands like Next, New Look, ASOS, River Island have all in part funded the project. So I've been along to meet Priya, Kaina and Tarek at the Highfield Centre, who are the team behind it.
FAB-L stands for the Fashion Workers Advice Bureau, Leicester, and our aim is to give that extra level of support and help to the fashion workers in the industry.
So this is a subject that has been a concern for some while, but it came to light more so during the pandemic. A lot of things have been discussed, which we've spoken about, but you're trying to help the situation. So tell us exactly what you're doing.
In terms of the findings, to us in the community, it has been going on for decades. And it's only recently that it's come out in the media. In terms of help, what we've identified through surveys and recent research that we've done ourselves since we started the post is that people do not have access to basic welfare advice, people do not have access to basic benefits advice, people do not know how to speak English, and this leaves them open to being exploited.
And how much of a problem is this still?
It is still a massive problem. One of the biggest key things is the fact that people are saying that they don't know where to go to for free help and advice. They don't know who they can turn to if they have any domestic violence issues, if they have any housing issues. Yes, there may be people saying there are a lot of services out there, but maybe due to a number of reasons they cannot access that, or they do not know about them.
How many people do you think this affects in this area?
According to some reports, there are 10,000 workers, fashion workers in Leicester alone.
And can you just talk to me about the dynamics and the setup and the makeup of the area? Because, you know, traditionally people may think it's predominantly, affects people of South Asian heritage, but is it true that actually the area is also now growing to sort of more Eastern Europeans too?
It's been a mixed area of mixed ethnic backgrounds for decades now. You know, there has been the Eastern European community, the Black Somali community, the African Caribbean communities. It's a diverse community. One of the surprising things I found myself, I assumed that maybe the fashion workers are mostly from the Indian subcontinent. But actually, when we actually went out there to do some research, we found, according to our survey, 20% of the workers were from Eastern European backgrounds.
So out of all the issues potentially that there are that people are facing, what's the biggest concern?
The biggest concern ultimately is that people do not know their rights. People do not know what help is available to them. People do not know how to get help. And the biggest concern is, due to all of these factors, people are reliant on others, and that leaves them open to being exploited.
Let's bring in Kaina here. Kaina, what's your role here?
I'm a community support engagement worker, so I'm supporting Tarek with regards to the FAB-L project.
And how's it going to work? What kind of things will you do? How will you begin the classes to help people?
So we're here to help the people with the employment rights, the worker rights, health and safety, benefit advice, welfare, form filling, letter writing. So it's any general help that the factory workers need in order to bring a change to their life positively.
How do you get people to actually come and engage with this? Because it's one thing setting it up and offering it, but I suppose also for people to have the confidence to come here in the first place. How do you encourage that?
So what we've done is we're going to be visiting the factories ourselves and building the trust. Now, our background is that we've already worked with the community ourselves. So they are familiar faces that we're going to be facing, and they're going to be aware of what work we already been going to help and offer. So because we've done the community work in the past, the people already know us.
I'm just going to bring in Priya here, who's the manager here at Highfield Centre, because these are free courses, and people might be thinking, wow, how do you make something like this free?
We've been very fortunate in that a number of clothing brands and trade unions have helped to fund this project. It's been a bit of a journey to get that agreement and to raise those funds, but finally that was done last year, and we're delighted to be able to now get the project off the ground and provide the service, and to have Tarek and Kainat here with us to do so.
And are more companies more forthcoming in wanting to help this situation? Because it has been a pretty big conversation that people have been having about what goes on, and obviously Leicester is so sort of, I suppose, at the front of what goes on with the textile businesses.
Oh, absolutely. The number of companies that are currently supporting us through financial contributions, we have 8 clothing brands, 3 trade unions doing so, But there's a number of others who are also supportive of the work that's being generated through FAB-L, including a number of non-governmental organizations known as NGOs. So, for example, the Ethical Trading Initiative, Labour Beyond the Label, and local authority as well. Leicester City Council has been very supportive in terms of this project. So we're looking forward to really making a difference. As Tariq was saying a few moments ago, the total absence of service for those garment workers has resulted in all of these horror stories that we've been hearing for the last few years. At last, we're going to be able to make a positive and material difference to those workers' lives, not just in terms of their employment-related matters, but also their family issues, whether that's housing, whether it's the children's education, whether it's health, etc. So that's all something that we're really looking forward to making a lot of movement on.
How will you know whether you've made a difference or not, and to what effect? I mean, are we talking kind of months here, or are we talking years?
Well, things have already started happening. I mean, even before the service has gone public, as from today, people have been contacting Tariq and Kainat on the back of a word-of-mouth communication that's happened. And the real test will be of what differences are made in terms of those workers' lives. For example, if it's an employment matter, if it's being remediated to the benefit of those workers and their families as well. So success will, as in many of the things we do here, word of mouth, families talking about the services they've received, that will spread and that will result in others coming through as well.
Big thanks to Priya, Tariq and Kainat for looking after us at the Highfield Centre yesterday. That is just one of many things they're doing there right now. In fact, as myself and producer Sophie walked into the reception area, you only look just by the lift at all the different things that they do, that they have going on. I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more from them in the future. And also, just on the outside of the building, some fantastic sort of artwork on the buildings. One with a lot of fists sort of in the air, sort of, you know, celebration with the words enhancing lives, empowering communities, enterprise for all. That's the Highfield Centre in Leicester. Right now it's coming towards 8 o'clock. Let's bring you up to date with your latest news now. Here's Tim.